I'm sure we all want a safe place to have this discussion since we're going to be talking about Web3 and NFT. I'm going to request everybody who's lost their life savings in Terra and Luna crash to please leave the room. Our volunteers escort them out. Nobody? That's great. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to have all of you just to 30 seconds to introduce yourselves, then we're going to dive right in. And I mean 30 seconds. If you go over 30, you'll have to answer to me. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hey guys, I'm Hamza Farooq. I am the COO at Dunya, and I got into the company 6 months ago when I was working with Taha Memon. So I used to see him work from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. And I was like, what is this guy doing all night? Working with the US because this is something that many Pakistanis didn't understand at the time. So I used to be sitting with him and I was very interested in what he was doing, and I joined the company with him, and now we're making big moves. Taha's right there. I'm proud of him and he's very proud of me as well, and we've embarked on this Web3 journey. Thank you.
Elizay?
Okay,
you can pass the mic. Oh, you have a mic?
Okay, so my name is Jehangir, and I'm working on this project. It goes by the name of the Boss Girls. It's an NFT collection. We've just launched, and when my first phase collection was launched, I started offering the strategical information to all of the community that exists in the NFT environment. So through that, through the LinkedIn, I met Gibran, who's the founder of Manifest Studios, and then I hopped on his bandwagon, and now I'm director of operations at his project. They haven't yet launched their collection, they're working on it, and it's going to be something really exciting. So that's it.
Thank you, Elizay.
Hello everyone, I'm Faizan. I'm from Gen I team, and mostly my experience is in producing games. I've been doing it for the last 10 to 12 years, and the Scary Teacher NFT project that Jahan was talking about, I'm the guilty one over here. So basically it's our game which did well. Now what we're doing is, we are taking it to the next level and trying to bring it on blockchain. So I'm just starting off, so let's go.
Hello everybody, I'm Zain Naqvi. I'm the co-founder of Alter. I've been in this space since 2020, which seems like prehistoric times now. I have worked on multiple NFT projects. Some of them have already been launched. Alter specifically caters to South Asia. We've worked on projects of over $2 million, different ones. And our own project has done something of a similar amount, so no complaints there. We are a serious technology company where we are working on, the art side, the design side, the DApp, the development. But we are notorious for helping sell a meme from Pakistan, which was called Friendship Ended. And we sold it for a huge amount, so no complaints there.
Great.
We've also done another project with the disappointed fan Sarim Akhtar in the cricket space. And it was a free mint. Free mints have become all the rage now, but we did it 6 months ago. So yeah, that's about it. And I have a background in art and design. I'm not from the tech circles, but I have worked for a lot of startups over the last 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Zain. You just went over 30 seconds. Taha, we've been able to find him wherever he was hiding.
Hello. Yep. Sorry about that, guys. I was giving an interview in another room, so apologies. Didn't know I was supposed to be on stage, but we made it. Would you like me to introduce myself?
Yeah,
Yep.
Introduce yourself and your company.
Taha Memon. I own a company in DC called Cloudy Twins. We work in augmentation reality, and our belief is mixed reality will be taking over our lives, and our digital presence will be as important as our real life. I know a lot of people are like, what is this guy saying? I have no idea, but I promise you that I'm always available for a conversation after this as well to make you understand our vision. We own a company called Dunya, which is primarily enabling people to understand Web3 and blockchain and smart contracts. So our goal is to really educate people and have a community build NFT collection in Pakistan, which allows people to be actually involved with us within the ecosystem, helping us make decisions. So that is what we're doing. Really cool stuff. Once again, yep,
Thank you very much, Taha. Really appreciate it. So let's get started with definitions. For those of us who were around in the dot-com bubble burst of, the late 90s, one of the concepts that was going around at the time, which was called Web3, was semantic web by Tim Berners-Lee, who invented internet. But this new sort of 21st century Web3 has nothing to do with semantic web, right? This is something completely different. So any of you want to just, take a crack at defining Web3 and exactly what it entails? Taha, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm just trying to be as courteous as possible. By the way, wherever you guys want me to pitch in, you guys can pitch in. So you're absolutely correct. So the dot-com boom was where where I don't see any boomers, but if there are any boomers, most of you guys probably should have bought some Amazon stocks and that would have made you a lot of money. So generations go through technology changes, right? You go through maybe the first huge technology change was Web 2, where the 90s came in and it changed the World Wide Web. And 30 years later, we're going through a complete change of how we're going to be interacting and how the web, your web interface is going to change, how human connection with the internet is going to change. So it's taken 30 years for us to get here, and we're still not there. We still have a long way to go towards what the metaverse and Web3 is. I think there's a huge confusion about what the metaverse is, what Web3 is. So there's a lot of real research that needs to be done to really understand where the vision is going. And there's not one vision. There's multiple visions of where people think it's going to go. So I think we're very early. But I do believe my vision is that it's going to be a combination of mixed reality, blockchain, smart contract, a very strong digital currency. And the more global the economies get, like right now, we're affected by inflation, petrol prices, whatever's happening around the world. And there's still a lot of people who debate till today that we're not in a global, we don't live in a global world, and the dollar rate and all this doesn't really matter. But I promise you, we're already moving towards a digital currency, even though we don't even know it, in a very subtle way. So that is my definition of what Web3 will be. It'll be a strong digital economy with mixed reality involved, and an insane amount of smart contracts on how we'll do business. So
yep. You don't subscribe to the thesis that distribution of control is, at the heart of Web 3.0. Is that correct? You think it's more about, metaverse and such?
So, I mean, all of this is together, right? What is of course, the definition of Web3 really comes to the point that we're giving the user full control, and it's going to be decentralized in a way with security and what you kind of, it's a creator economy. But to be honest with you, I just don't believe that, I think human beings in itself, we need some sort of control. And of course, it's going to be taxed, and it needs to be taxed, and it needs to be secure for the average Joe. So it's going to take some time for everyone to kind of get used to what the vision is. It's a far-fetched vision that it's completely going to be on the user. I don't believe it's going to be. I think there are going to be platforms which you can use, which will give you full autonomous control. But I don't believe each and every Web3 experience is going to be completely. It's just not possible.
Okay, wonderful. What about you, Hamza? Do you believe eventually the evolved and sort of refactored Web 3.0, is there going to be a compromise of control between absolute decentralization and centralization? Do you think there's going to be a compromise there, or do you think the real vision of Web 3.0 is absolute distribution and no single party, no throat to chokes per se?
So I feel like since COVID hit, a lot of things became decentralized as well. A lot of people started taking control. Everything became more digital as well, towards the digital side. And just like cryptocurrencies right now, there is a central autonomy that controls the money, but there is crypto taking over as well. And I feel like cryptos come to a point where they are making people compromise. The banks and governments, they are making them compromise. So I do feel like it will be a compromise between decentralized and centralized. And I don't think in the next 5 years it'll fully take over, but maybe in the next 10 to 15 years, there'll be a point where we could have something that'll be fully decentralized.
Okay, great. And Elizay, do you think in this tug of war between centralization and decentralization, governments eventually will have to provide some sort of legal cover to all of these applications and products, and especially when money gets involved, right? You see what's happening globally in economies or countries where this thing took root initially. Do you see governments sort of willing to compromise and let go of that control? And where do you think Pakistan is at the moment?
I feel like it's working. So I feel like the government would have to provide support in some way. They'll have to make it legitimate. That's how they can keep a control on all of this. Because if they just leave it there and then and they're just like, okay, this is something that's telling people to they can have the control. So if they're afraid of that concept, then they cannot have a say in it in anywhere. So it's better for the government to legitimize it in some way, to make regulations, so that's how they can keep a control on this. Otherwise, it'll just get out of their hands. Decentralization is it's basically on the concept that creating an environment where everybody can benefit off from this. So to create a win-and-win situation, that's how I feel like it'll spread widely, and more people would adopt it, and more people would hop on it in the bandwagon. And it's inevitable. I can't say that it's going to end at some point. It's just going to keep on spreading.
Okay, great. Thank you. Faizan, what do you think is a good or a great example of Web 3.0 that is out there that people are using and you think is scalable, sustainable, it'll keep growing, that is aligned with the Web 3.0 vision, at least the way you see it?
Well, I can't say there's any particular example right now, because everyone is right now evolving and understanding what Web3 is actually. So if I say that this is one company that's doing well, this is one, then that's fine. Until now, I thought Solana was doing well until this Solend fiasco happened a few days ago, where they had to there was a whale who dumped Sol, it's a cryptocurrency, and he was getting US dollars in exchange of it. So in a purely decentralized environment, people would let that happen. But in this case, a few people, they jumped in and then controlled that whale and didn't let the price drop. So there you go. So I thought it was a decentralized case, but they made it centralized. So coming back to the point, I think people still need to look at this, how it can be evolved, and look at and give it a chance of being evolved further. With time, better, more mature solutions will come. But till now, in my opinion, it's more of a wait and watch and see how the decentralized thing goes. Although I'm a big advocate, I mean, the concept is good, that there is no particular one entity that is controlling your data. It's all across. I mean, think of it like you download files from a P2P mechanism. It's something similar to that. So whatever you require or you want to see, for example, if you want to see a video, you don't need to go to a server and then get it from there. It's basically from any closest node that's available over there, and you can watch a particular content or get your desired file. So concept is there, it's pretty good, but can we give a particular example? I don't think I can, but there will be for sure someone in future.
How about you, Zain? What's a good example to drive home, what 3.0 is in minds of people, and really understand the value of it? Because it has been around for a while now, right?
I have two different opinions that might be a little different from the other panelists here, with all due respect. Firstly, maybe decentralization and centralization will morph into something else that we haven't seen yet. We have been seeing, crypto exchanges coming up, which are centralized, but they still let you do all kind of stuff, specifically in the MENA regions. You've seen that. Secondly, I think, as Taha was mentioning, that this mixed reality thing is going to guide what the metaverse is. So I think there will be combos of things rather than things existing separately. Lastly, I think the question of Web3 has more to do with intellectual property and how it is spread over the internet than anything else. Whether it's centralized, decentralized, that's a totally different debate. How can you, get the credit and the financial gain from your idea is what matters right now. And I think that is what I am particularly looking at, especially considering that, a lot of times its ideas flow from the west to the east. So it very rarely happens that something from the east goes and becomes the topic of the day or topic of the week in the west. So, and that is what we need to understand. So during the last two booms, whether it was the dot-com era, whether it was the social media era, Pakistan has missed the train, because we went into a service provider mentality. I don't want people to get encouraged about freelancing and service providing, in the Web3 arena. Go make products, become builders, understand the fundamentals, and have a stake in the place. We're all talking about the metaverse, but if people like us, and by us I mean gender, race, ethnicity, we aren't there, the metaverse won't look like us. So then later on, we can't really complain about the fact that this does not look like us. A very small example would be early analog cameras, which couldn't, detect a certain type of skin color because they weren't made for that skin color. So just that is what I have in my head.
Okay, thank you, Zain. Let's talk, Taha, I'll come to you. Let's talk about NFTs, what they are, and specifically what I'd like you to shed light on is how do you create or assess value of NFTs, beyond the original creators, for example, to a broader community or
His name is in the panel, he can't help it.
Hello.
No worries, that was fun.
इस पे कोई NFT बना लेना हाँ?
Yeah, so what are NFTs and how does value get assigned to NFTs? And more importantly, how does that value gets sort of accepted by the broader community and eventually, globally? How do you create a global sense of value to these NFTs?
So
Let's start with the definition.
Sure. So NFT basically is a non-fungible token. You guys can take your phone out, Google it. Primarily, it's a asset within which has a digital presence. The reason why it's valuable is because it's, number one, it's on the blockchain, right? So you're able to have monetize or put a value on it once you create it. So the creator gets to put a value on it. But what it actually does is it has essential utility, which means there are different types of utility the creator can create. And that with every NFT project, it will be different. So the easiest way I make people understand it, think about it like you're buying shares into a company without a middle person. And most of the time you get more value out of it because you get to directly communicate with the founder and see what the team is doing in a real life fast environment. So think about a startup where you can put money in a quicker way and then really see the growth happening in the easiest way possible. Obviously, this is not the definition. This is for a layman to really come quickly on board with how the NFT market works. But in reality, it's all based on smart contracts, right? What does that contract enable you to do between the creator and the consumer? So a lot of this has to do with ERC 720 and how that's a foundation within the blockchain and the value really, for me at least, what I've seen, it comes from the community and what the community chooses the price for it to be. So if I'm a creator of an NFT and I say, hey, you know what? This is a collection that I've put out.
but I don't have believers within my community and people are not backing me and I'm not a likable person and they think I'm this huge scam, then no matter what I want to value it at, there'll be no buyers. If there are no buyers, if there's no community backing me, my project will lose value the second day. So with NFTs, and this happened, this is very important because whenever something gets traction, a lot of people just jump on that train, right? Even when it's not their calling. So it's so important that you get into things if it's your calling, not just because it's a trend. Because human behavior, human interactions, they understand what's real, what's not. We believe our consumers not that smart, but in reality, human beings are super smart. In a month, 2 months, 3 months, they understand things, they understand creations, they understand environments, they know what's legitimate, what's not. So people need to really work on projects that they can actually provide that level of service, not something that they know they can't, that's so far-fetched. So that wave of NFTs that came in and the drop actually is good for the whole NFT space, because now real communities are going to be built with funding or without funding. You're going to see real Pakistani build NFT collections come in and really scale up instead of those who just wanted to come in for that quick hit and run. NFTs you'll get lucky once, but you won't get lucky twice. You have to build your community, you have to communicate, you have to be transparent to really build that economy and really build that value. So,
okay. So Hamza, from what I understand from what Taha has said, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the value assignment of these NFTs is sort of a subjective matter. It's not an objective, way. Like he gave an example of, stocks of a company. There are objective ways of assigning, value to a stock of a company, right? You look at the free cash flows, you look at, comparables and all of that. And it's, engaged in fundamental economic activities of, products and services, generating products and services. So you can discount the free cash flows and figure out, okay, this is the value of the stock right now. There's a bit of subjectivity, but most of it is objective. So would you agree that this is more of a subjective process of, assigning value to NFTs as opposed to objective ones? And if that is the case, what can you share from your experience of, good strategies to, make people believe in your NFT?
So first of all, I do think, it's subjective as well as objective. And it's just not one thing that you're getting out of a particular NFT project or out of a company. First of all, I think when you're buying into an NFT, the extrinsic value that you get of it is that it's an asset, first of all. So you are getting, of course, like if you have a big community and you have a supply of 1,000 NFTs and you have a community of 5,000, and you do sell out that NFT, people who buy that NFT, their asset will gain value. So first of all, they gain value over there. That's pretty objective. Secondly, the intrinsic value that you might get from your NFT is, for example, Dunya. What Dunya does is that you buy into an NFT and that you get access to a university that we're creating. So the university that we're creating is giving access to digital content creation, as well as cryptocurrency investing strategies, NFT investing strategies, smart contracts, blockchain, AR technology. So we're giving all of those things. From my personal experience from a project that I like a lot is Jadoo AR. So their journey is about providing AR technology and VR technology. So that is the value that they're giving from their NFT or from their company. So you buy into their, so there's a hoverboard that they sell or a jetpack that they sell. So you can use that jetpack in the metaverse as a game. So some kids might say, okay, that's super cool, I love it. But some people sitting over here, they'll be like, what can I do with a jetpack in a game? Like, what is that even giving me? But that's giving you access to other things that company might be offering. So that's what I think it is. I think it's both things at the same time.
Okay. How about you, Elizay? What kind of advice would you give to creators to create good, lasting, sustainable communities for NFTs? What has been your experience like?
Yeah, so I believe that whenever a creator, they're thinking about creating any NFT project, they should always think about the value they're going to give back to the community, because that's what's driving the buyer to buy into that project. So it can be in any form, like for example, the boss skills, what we're offering is we're offering a P2E game, play to earn. So what you do is while you're playing, you're earning at the same time. So that's like a big utility that we're offering. Other than that, there is other projects are offering in real life events, in networking events. They're offering merchandises, access to, they're offering tokens that can be either converted to fiat or they can be used to buy other things. So that's like, there are uncountable amount of ways you can offer value to your community, but that should be your priority whenever you're thinking about launching a project. Not just think about, okay, we'll launch a certain amount of collection and then we'll make a money out of it, and then, well, the process will continue. Secondary markets, the buyers, they'll sell on the secondary markets, they gain some profit, and you'll gain some profit as well. But that shouldn't just be it. There should be like a bigger picture. You should think about, okay, what if we can link our project to some other physical asset? That's I think the best thing you can do. For example,
what's an example of that?
Yeah, for example, Nike, the collection they've launched, what they've done is whenever you buy an NFT, you can like, you actually have a physical product in front of you. So you can like buy it from any, you can go to any of their outlet and you can tell them, okay, I'm an owner of this collection, this piece, so I would like to have my sneakers. So they'll just give it to you. So other than that, what they're doing is if you have two Nike shoes, you can, there's this serum you get, and then what happens is that sneaker, it gets modified. And so you get an exclusive collection, which you can trade it on the blockchain and also have access to it in the real world. So that's one of the utility that was like really inspiring for me, and that's what we hope to do for TVG as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Faizan, we've talked about, sort of the positive side of it, but I think everybody here knows that there's been a lot of value creation and value destruction in this space. For people who are not intimately familiar with this, subject, would you advise to just stay away from it, or do you think there are ways to spot frauds and scams, maybe some websites, some way of sort of, differentiating, a good NFT apart from a bad one? Or is it like scientific by now, or is it still a very subjective matter?
Well, I mean, about a year ago, there used to be saying that if you have lost taste, then either you have COVID or you have bought an NFT. So that was the situation back then. I mean, the point I'm making at that time, people were just, even if they would throw a collection, then people would make money. So that was another time. But nowadays, what's happening, I mean, some people think that the NFT markets are going downwards, but I think that the market is getting more mature. One example is that a Moonbirds, a project that recently came, I think it was February or March? March. So all of the market was going down at that time. At the moment Moonbirds came up, the market went up, the trading went up again because there was value in the project. So what is value? I mean, this is a subjective word. I can break it down into 3-4 things what different projects have done that I can categorize as value. One thing is that there is a NFT project called Lazy Lions. What they are doing is that they are offering you comic books. If you buy, there are 3 different NFTs. One I think is a lion, one I think is a cub, and then there's a room that you have to buy. So you have to buy rooms as NFTs now as well. Another good case was the creative director of Simpsons, a very popular series. He started as an artist in an NFT initiative called Lunartics. So what they were doing is that if you buy their NFT, then you would get a chance. So what they were planning is that with all those 5,000 characters that they were selling, you would get they would make a story out of them, a series. So you being a holder of that NFT, you would get a chance to do a voiceover for that particular NFT that you hold. So sort of you're being like a implicit celebrity, where your NFT character is being the face and you being the voice of that character. Another thing is that I would like to highlight from the fashion industry. I'm not sure if you've heard of the brand Black Paris. They recently launched an NFT initiative called Black Genesis. So one thing that they were offering is that if you own an NFT, you can have like a cover and have your NFT picture on back of it. So that was one other value. But the most exciting thing that people really go for when they ask what the utility is, they're asking, would we be making money when we buy your NFT? So this is the direction that investors would go in. Because what I think is that once your NFT project gets sold out, it's not that you are making that money. The community assumes that this is sort of an investment that we are doing in your project. Now give us an ROI of it. So that is what they're expecting now. Yes, year ago it was the taste thing that I mentioned, but now they do expect. Axie Infinity is one thing that started it. How it started, I mean, it's a very amazing story, and advocate of NFTs is people in Philippines were losing jobs because of COVID, and they bought like this $300 characters in that game called Axie Infinities, and by 2 weeks or so they started making more money than what they were getting from their salaries in the hired companies. So that really kicked it off. Then it was BAYC as well. So bottom line is that, I mean, these are the 3-4 things that I've mentioned, but on top of it that comes is, will people be making like a monthly earning, or if they like invest into your project, will they be like getting some value out of it? Like they'll be making monthly income or so.
Faizan, going back to that Axie Infinity example that you just gave, where was that value coming from? I mean, is it like a greater fool's theory that, you know, you just keep finding the greater fool who subscribes to this, or is there, because, you know, the value for shares, for example, comes because the underlying companies are engaged in productive economic activities, right? So there's real economic value that has been created. What's the case in Axie Infinity's case? Where is that additional value coming from?
Well, in that case, I mean, there's this concept, I mean, of staking that's coming in. I mean, if we talk about, it's a little complicated, but when you mint a block on blockchain, on Ethereum, it's done by a concept of proof of work. But on Solana, it's another blockchain, it's called proof of stake, where whoever is sort of applying to mint the block, or in easier words, they want to put data on the blockchain, then they have to put some money in it before they can go ahead with that. So based on that, that circulation of wealth comes in, and then people earn. That is one way. Another, that the people who are already making money in their games, for example, who are established, for example, what I am thinking, like Scary Teacher is our established game. In that case, we are like earning revenue from ads, for example. So from that, we can give a slice to the people. We can allocate it that, okay, this much money that will make a percentage, this will go to the people who will be playing the game. So it's like aiming for a smaller share in a bigger pie. That is one way to where you can allocate the financials of it, but the other way is the staking part. So
okay, thank you, Zain. This concept of, you know, creating tokens and, you know, staking and building value, do you think that value is portable outside of the ecosystem in which those tokens get created, or is it only specific to Axie Infinity? For example, any asset that I have in Axie Infinity, does it have value outside of that ecosystem? And do you know if there's any work being done to create these portable, you know, NFTs or tokens that have value outside of it? Because that's where the real value, at least in my mind, comes from, right? Otherwise, you know, people were selling in-game art and, you know, guns and swords, you know, for decades now.
I think there are a couple of things that we need to understand. One, that NFTs are not just limited to projects. NFTs can be art. So you're not going to go and ask, you know, a fine artist or a contemporary artist what their utility is. Their utility is that if you buy their painting, they keep on painting. So let's get that aside. Similarly, if you, for example, for music NFTs, which is the next big thing that is going to happen, Spotify is already trying that as well. You know, it's that how can music be co-owned by fans and by the producers? So that changes the entire dynamic of, you know, the way things are going. Lastly, I think blockchain has its financial side in cryptocurrencies. NFTs are more of a cultural item. So you need to understand culture in order to understand NFTs rather than finance. Finance has always been there. And you were talking about the greater fool theory, and it became all the rage because of Bill Gates recently. And I recently found a PC magazine from 1994 where Bill Gates is being grilled for being wrong about the internet. So he did not even believe that internet would happen for the next 10 years as well. So, I mean, everybody's open to their opinions, respectfully. But the thing is that the issue with the NFT space is that there came this mentality that I'll invest into anything and it will turn into gold. So coming back to your question of value, nobody went in and really grilled the projects that were talking of utility, that where is this utility coming from? So half the projects that sold out were sold out on the promise that we are going to give you access to more projects, and it's going to become an alpha group. But there is another word for an alpha group. It's a pyramid scheme, So it's a Ponzi scheme as well. So you really need to understand and that where, the divide happens. As for real world value, I don't know how many people here are gamers, but I mean, I have nieces and nephews who've spent thousands on in-game items. And that economy is real, whether we like to believe it or not, that it's, tangibility is something else. So obviously tangible NFTs will come, but till then I think the simple way to understand would be that up until now, if you bought an in-game item, the game would make money. You as a gamer won't make money. But what happens, once, like if you can sell the item, you can make money as well. And I mean, the origins of Ethereum itself lie in that. Vitalik's, collection was lost in some game that I can't recall right now. And that is what literally led to the creation of Ethereum, that, assets be decentralized. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Taha, given your experience in this space, and your understanding of the security and maturity of this Web 3.0 NFT space, do you think it's ready for an ordinary Joe to start investing in it and take exposure to this? Or do you think it's only for the techies, people who really understand what they're buying and what they're getting into right now? And if not, how long do you think it'll be before it's ready for mass adoption?
Sure. So, very good question, must say, because a lot of the people that actually come into the NFT space, usually they're coming in because maybe they hear about it from a friend who's made a little bit of money, or maybe just because it's the cool thing to do now, right? What we need to understand is that this is actually, number one, going to happen. It's already happening. And number three, the second Instagram puts it up that, hey, we're doing NFTs, and every influencer starts taking a selfie and goes like, hey guys, buy my NFT, then everyone's gonna come in and be like, yes, NFT is the cool thing to do. Right now, half of the room is not listening because it's not the cool thing to do, because the influencers aren't talking about it, right? We're the weird people, that's all right. But in a few months from now, I promise you, once it becomes, like human beings we're packs, right? We follow people, we follow other individuals, that's what we are. So the second Instagram launches its portal, everyone's gonna jump in on it, and they're gonna think that, oh, we always believed in it. Halaki, 2 years back when I was talking about it at a party, they were like, nah, we don't believe what you're saying. So it's gonna come regardless of what happens. It's like the .com boom where Amazon, the guy, he was going, I can't believe, Jeff Bezos, yeah, he was like, I'm gonna make books online, and half the people he met were like, okay, you're absolutely, you've lost your mind. Same thing with NFTs. People think that I've lost my mind and I'm going through a midlife crisis, but I promise you in time, a lot of people, and I know we all probably feel the same way, the conversations I've had with people are just unimaginable. And they're unimaginable because the regular customer doesn't want to do the 40-hour research. The regular customer wants to go at home and he wants everything served on a dinner chai table, right? With NFTs, to learn, you need to spend some time. You need to actually ask informed people who are within the business. And I promise you, the NFT space and the Web3 space has so much love in teaching people and educating people. You ask any one of us, we'll get you on board within like 30 minutes. We'll be like, join our Discord community. We have so many members who'd help you out. The reason why people go through security issues is because they don't want to put in the effort. You know, we want our chai, someone else, you know, giving it to us, but you have to do your R&D. You have to go home, you have to see what a digital wallet is, what I'm not supposed to do. I consult with individuals from different countries, and they're like in their 70s, and they don't know how to even like sometimes I'm like, open Google Chrome, this guy's open Internet Explorer. But he will eventually, like, I swear to God, understand this technology better because he's spending time. So without that 40 hours, sorry?
What kind of timeline are we looking at? Is it a year out, 5 years out, 10 years out?
Timeline on security, I think,
No,
like
timeline on, you know, making all the people in the room start listening to us.
start listening to us. I mean, a lot of them are already, I hope, listening to us. But if you aren't, eventually 90% of the people who genuinely like to follow trends will just follow. Like everything is on Instagram. Like the second, I mean, you're gonna see it happening in a few months. We're gonna pump some money into our project in AR. I'm gonna have every influencer talk about it. It's gonna become cool, at least in Karachi and Lahore. People are gonna come on board, and then some will actually listen, some won't. But it's essential. What my main goal here is to kind of make you understand before it gets cool. Spend 40 hours to just understand what it is, and spend a little bit of time understanding security. Because if you come in without actually understanding like blockchain security and what steps you need to take, I swear to God, you'll have a bad experience. You don't want to let that bad experience, you know, control the rest of your life just because of a few bad apples.
Okay, thank you very much, Taha. I've been told our time is up, and you know, Jahan is one person in the ecosystem that I'm actually afraid of. So I'm not gonna, you know, cut into the next panel's time. With that, I just want to thank you, Taha, Hamza, Elizay, Faizan, and Zain. And I hope if people have any questions, you know, they can approach you, you know, as we get off the stage. Thank you very much. Thank you for being a wonderful audience.